enough confidence in the things that I know. I have enough wisdom to see the logic will be shown. I got one chance to show you what I got. I got one chance to show I'm confident or not. Self-evident reason, deductions and conclusions, and the fools are running away. It's not what you say, it's only what you can prove. You better watch your step, you better mind your P's and Q's. You got one chance, show me what you got. You got one chance to show you confident or not. Don't get caught in the matrix of all of these fakers. Society's spinning, and I'm just here living on the ground. Self-evident reason, deductions and conclusions, logically thinking, and the fools are running away. You're flipping over backwards to show me where you think you are. Your model dictates that you never see too far. Shrinking in the distance, you can do fuck all with an angle, and the fools are running away.
And we are live. Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday, Trivium Day. Guess we're going to be going over these contradictions and paradoxes, antinomies, global antinomies. And I've made a logical argument for Blue Marble and the Blue Marble science guys to go around the all of the contradictions that they have. And there's so much that happens during the day that I tend to forget, because it starts the moment we wake up. The Blue Marble scientists, they love it. So it starts at like 8 o'clock in the morning for me now, and now it's 8 o'clock at night, 12 hours later. It's been going all day. So I have been busy today again as well. Quite a lot going on. So you'll have to bear with me as we go through this transition. But let me have a look, see whether we got any anything in here. I think we did. Oh yeah. Blue Marble. 22nd of February. Is that? Okay. Right. This is following on from last night, I think. In fact, let me have a look, see whether I can get this on the global contradictions, because they really like the contradictions within this. And we've been saying all day that you know, you should just be at peace with your globe. I don't personally, on my globe, I don't have contradictions. I don't accept contradictions, but there are other people that do have contradictions, and they either choose to accept the contradictions or they just dismiss them as contradictions. It gets a little bit tricky. Where's the blue marble? There we go. I think that's it there. Right, so this is the one, so I'll get you guys on it. And get the yeah, that's good. Right. Okay, so these are we're following on from yesterday, really. This is yesterday's video that we did where we went over some of the contradictions that you either have to accept them or work out whether they are contradictions. Do a bit of logic to decide for yourself whether it is a contradiction or not. You know, it's the point of these paradoxes and stuff. And Betty does this quite a lot. What Betty does is Betty's the blue marble science logician, globgician. And he has his own special way of I don't know, we were saying it's like it's sophistry, but what Betty does is this sort of intellectual sophistry. And I said this is about one of the worst forms of sophistry, but let's see what you think. He says Bev, and then the bunny ears is him quoting. So I say, could a non-zero curve be a straight line? And Betty sort of clipped that because he thinks that's a good question. And he says, obviously not. But level is not a straight line. But a level is not a straight line.
How he can know that? So this is empty assertion.
Yeah. Well, I asked the question, could a non-zero curve be a straight line? You could as easily say, could a curve be a straight line? Similar sort of question. Except, yes. Could a non-zero curve be a straight line? Could a curve be a straight line? And he says, obviously not. But, I mean, if a curve can be a straight line, then why can't a non-zero curve be a straight line also? Especially if you reference it to a point. Like a circle. Like, is a circle, when you map it, like blue marble does, is that a non-zero curve? Or is it mapped as a straight line, like blue marble does when he makes a circle into a straight line? It's a way that they deal with their own contradictions, this. So he's just said, obviously not, when it could be, if you're dealing in Fantasyland. But, he says, but a level is not a straight line. Well, a level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane. Read Blue's comment below, which we will get to in a bit. If an auto level is establishing a horizontal plane of reference at an elevation of 3 meters above sea level, that horizontal plane will be 3 meters above sea level all the way to infinity. But that is not what we observe, he says. Science is about observation.
Wrong. Science is not about observation. Science is about proving.
We was talking about that a little bit earlier, right? Now, I said, if you were to explain logic, you could explain logic through the formulation of geometry and mathematics and the mathematical procedure, right? That would be quite easy. But you could also say that logic is intrinsic to science, and the actual proof is the physical proof that's rendered through your logical arguments. And that is the scientific process. It's the method that you achieve, that you choose to achieve, how to prove your arguments that are laid out in a logical form. That's what science is to me. Obviously, Beddy thinks it's just about looking at stuff. Or maybe he has a bit of a... I mean, it would be a bit cheap to say that, you know, Beddy just thinks it's just about looking at stuff. Science is just about looking at stuff.
It is very easy to disprove that statement.
Yeah.
That science is about looking.
Observation.
So if we are, for example, in a long corridor in the hotel, so we know that edges of ceiling and walls and floor, they are parallel to each other. But if we are looking in the distance, in the corridor, we are observing that they are converging. But still, we know that they are parallel. So what it means? That our observation is not telling us strictly that they are parallel. So looking at something doesn't prove anything, because in that way, how Bebe is stating that observation is science, it means that because we can see that they are converging, these lines, it means that parallel lines are converging, because we can see that they are converging. So it is nonsense, because he is not taking perspective into consideration. So, but still, he says that what we observe something in perspective. So it leads us to absurd conclusion that parallel lines are converging. So very easy to disprove his statement.
Yeah, like the Penrose staircase. It's all an optical thing of perspective. It's not actually
they are not converging,
going up or going down or whatever.
Yes, so this is not sufficient, just observing or just making a picture of something. This is not science, and it is not a proof. So Bebe's argument dismissed.
Yeah.
Science is not observation.
Yeah, that's only his first comment. He then quotes me saying, everyone knows that perpendicular to plumb is level. I mean, everybody knows that. He says, but nearly everybody except Bev knows that verticals are not parallel to one another. I'm pretty sure that hardly anybody knows that. In fact, I think very few people are aware of the contradiction of verticals not being parallel. We should make people know. I mean, 'tis globe, so... it'll go down quite well, that. Particularly try it at a building site. That's probably be the best place to start. He says Aristotle discovered this more than 2,000 years ago. Aristotle.
Citation, please.
Well, he said it. He's wrote there. Betty's citation. Aristotle discovered this more than 2,000 years ago.
No, I need from Aristotle.
In the book? Oh, I don't know. I don't know which one he'd have done it. Which book had he done it on? And then he puts like 2 minutes 35 blatant contradiction. Not even the faintest whiff of a contradiction. Do you not understand logic, he says. He says, brackets, the easiest way to see it is not a contradiction, is to look at the statements you ask me to agree with. See, e.g., 159.50. None of these statements contain the word level. Therefore, none of them can contradict a statement containing the word level. Any contradictory statement must have to have at least one term in common.
Can you scroll up a bit when baby is saying first time? Yes, this could a non-zero curve be a straight line?
Yeah.
So he's saying if an auto level is establishing a horizontal plane of reference at an elevation, etc. So auto level is establishing a horizontal plane. But he is saying above that, but a level is not straight line. So it is contradiction, and level is there, because auto level it means that it is automatic leveling. So establishing a horizontal is also establishing a level.
I think I said some statements though. I said level is a straight line, and plumb is perpendicular. I don't know. I might have to. Let me see whether I can. Or a diletheist. Are you a diletheist? Asking a question. No, I don't think so. But I mean, you can feel free to come in and check to make these sure statements here that I'm not a diletheist. Give me some questions that will test whether I hold contradictions. So he's got them there. Or whether I can find a contradiction. Right. These are the statements that he's agreeing with here. It says there is zero curve to a horizontal. Okay? There is zero curve to a perpendicular. True statement. There is zero curve to a plumb bob, a vertical. There is zero curve to the perpendicular to a plumb line. And there is zero curve to a plane.
Yes, but he said he agreed. And this
he said because we've not mentioned level in there, but I mean perpendicular to a plumb line.
Yes, so he agreed that plumb line is perpendicular to level. So they have to be a straight line, because both straight lines, because it is, you said in that series of statements that perpendicular is straight line. So if plumb line is straight line, so perpendicular to plumb line being level is also straight line. And
it's a plane
with that.
Perpendicular to a plumb line in reality is a plane. It has to be. Can't be just a line. It's got to be a plane. Because the plumb line is a straight line, so perpendicular to that line has to be a plane. You don't say an orientation to the line. You've got to have entire plane. No other way of doing it. So yeah. Again, so like he said, because they didn't say level, I might have tricked him, and he's gonna call that's not logic. That's not real logic, because he didn't mention the word level in the first bit, and he didn't have the whereabouts, the geometric understanding to know that perpendicular to a plumb line is level.
Yes, and being perpendicular means that it cannot curve.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
So I say to him, is level perpendicular to plumb? If it is, you have a contradiction on your hands. But it's okay. Proof by contradiction is how you can use this to prove your globe to your blue marble science buddies. Proof by contradiction. It's going to become big. They'll all be using it soon. So Betty says a horizontal surface is perpendicular to exactly one plumb line and no more than one, because all plumb lines diverge. That statement is perfectly true, hence implies no contradiction. What contradiction do you think it implies? Please say.
Well, this is affirming the consequent. Sorry.
Yeah.
This is fallacy, what he committed in this statement.
He says, indeed, if a horizontal surface is perpendicular to more than one plumb line, you immediately get a contradiction. Are you a diletheist? You ought to tell us. All perpendiculars to a plane. Not true in this, though. If horizontal, he says, if a horizontal surface is perpendicular to more than one plumb line, you immediately get a contradiction.
No. You have consequence. Horizontal surface, it is a plane. It has to have infinite number of perpendiculars. And these perpendiculars are plumb lines. So this is him who is making, I don't know what he's
It's how
doing.
Betty dismisses a contradiction, by handing it off into the minds of other people. It's not him with the contradiction, it's you.
This is not contradiction what he's stating. He's just false. This is just false statement, because obviously a horizontal plane has infinite number of perpendiculars.
Yeah, all perpendiculars to a plane will be parallel.
Yes, so this is just impossible what he's saying. It cannot happen.
It's fantasy logic, isn't it? It's fantasy. Like Blue Marble Science said, the science of the blue marble is mythical. It's not real. It's just fantasy. The whole lot of it. And Beddy's enacting his fantasy. Sort of RPing Blue Marble Scientist.
So maybe here is denying implication, because implication of perpendiculars to horizontal, from that we know that there are infinite numbers of plumb lines being perpendicular to horizontal. So when he's saying that only one, he's just wrong. Just within only formal logic. Not, you don't need to check in reality anything here. Just his bold statement is formally false. So invalid, completely invalid.
Yeah, I'd say this is the sort of stuff that Beddy could quite easily come, because geometric logic can definitely be proved if there's anything that you can deduce it is geometric logic. So anytime Betty wants to come out here and deal with anything that relates to reality, i.e. plumb bobs, or perpendiculars to the straight line, plumb bob, vertical, come on in. Kenny comes in. Kenny's helping him. Says, level is normal to plumb at all points. Normal just means perpendicular. So level is perpendicular to plumb at all points. But he's just said one, only one. This has been repeatedly explained to you and accurate definitions provided. That was Kenny the other day when he had his accurate definitions of perpendiculars to plumb.
So if at all points, therefore not at one point only. Because or him or Darren was saying that only at one point. I'm not sure who of them. But still, if level is normal to plumb at all points, it implies that level is straight line.
Absolutely. So, like if you're walking along the canal and you've got a plumb bob and you dangle it over the water, it'd be perpendicular to it. Everywhere. Whenever you walked anywhere along that canal, the fact that the plumb bob is perpendicular to the level of the water would show that the level of the water would be a horizontal plane, because perpendicular at every point along it is a straight line. I can't understand why they have a bit of a problem with it. Just put it on your globe and be at peace with it. I mean, it happens in reality, so just put it on your globe. I don't know why these guys are fighting it so much. Just accept the contradiction. Or maybe it's advanced level globe, where you've tis-globed enough that you just completely forget about the contradiction and you can't see it anymore. I mean, that's some expert level globing. When you can get to the state where you can't see the contradiction. But I'm still at the stage that it's a blatant contradiction, and I don't have these contradictions on my globe. But it's obvious that these blue marble scientists, I think they have a different globe. Kenny, he has explained it, referring to Paper's claim that parallels diverge. What? I don't even know what that means.
That and my eyes are squared now.
Referring to Paper's claim that parallels diverge in reality.
No, this is just
that's a blatant
misrepresenting. Misrepresenting what I said.
Yeah.
Completely. I said about perspective, and perspective is how we see. Let's say this third dimension being, in that case, depth. So this is not orthographic view and not reality per se. So I didn't say that in reality parallels diverge, because this is, of course, nonsense. I said that we can, as I explained in that example of corridor, we can see parallel, let's say, lines in perspective, not in orthographic view. Because if we are the same corridor, if we would see from the side, they would seem to be parallel, of course. But if we are inside this corridor, we can see the same lines being parallel in orthographic view. In perspective view, they are apparently changing into converging. This is how perspective view works, and this is the difference between orthographic view and perspective view. That is all what I was talking about. And I never said that in reality, because I was talking about how we see things. So not in reality. So this is just, let's say, misrepresenting what I said.
Yeah, Jesse Kozlowski said that the positions and the points of the locations of everything don't change just because it looks a bit different.
Yes, and he is completely right.
Yeah. He told Soundly that before getting Walter Bislin to make a model for him. But I think the model was already made.
Jesse Kozłowski's statement about that, it was just blinking eye for Globers. So, but they didn't get it, sadly.
Buddy, look at this. Buddy's talking to Kenny. Kenny says, it's not as if they're trying to misrepresent you at all, right? And swap arguments. Subversal. This is Kenny says back to Beddy. Paper can claim all he wants. It defies the definition of parallel and observable parallel lines in reality. Observable parallel lines in reality.
Yes.
Like what? It defies the definition of observable parallel lines in reality when you were explaining exactly what observable parallel lines in reality actually look like.
Yes, so I was just saying that we can see differently in perspective. So it doesn't depict reality, orthographic, let's say, view. So this is just this is a mess what he wrote, because what is definition of parallel and observable parallel lines?
Yeah.
So there are two different. There are parallel and observable parallel lines.
Yeah, which is perspective, isn't it? I mean,
yes, and
the perspective plane.
He says that observably parallel lines are in reality, but there are different parallel lines, not observable, and he didn't say that they are in reality.
Yeah.
So he is putting this, let's say, qualification, or yes, in reality, in wrong place. Maybe deliberately or not, I don't know, but in wrong place.
Right. Well, he does say, look, he says, he deserves an explanation with substance. I'm not too sure they'd understand it, but they say they deserve it. He says, if he is going to use our comments as the topic of his streams, not some fabricated nonsense. So we wouldn't want Kenny fabricating some nonsense for us to be using as the topic on our streams, would we? I suggest Kenny not fabricate nonsense then that we have to go over to clarify, right? Because you wouldn't want somebody coming along the chat and imagining that Kenny is actually making some sense and not actually contradicting himself or what paper actually said. That'd be really dishonest or delusional. I mean, they could be both. We're not discounting both delusional and dishonest for Kenny.
So I explained and with substance, as he said. I don't think that he knows what substance is. So
Yeah. Oh, it's easy for everybody to go over. They can go over the stream last night that we went over, or anyone of this tonight. Or Kenny could just come in and explain what the fuck he's talking about. But he said he won't come into this Discord. Blue Marbles told him not to. And then Betty says, yep. That claim puzzles me. Well, because it was Betty that said it in the first place. The lie, the dishonesty. This is how they work. He says, I always thought that parallel lines by definition cannot meet in reality or in imagination. He's never heard Fight the Flat Earth or anybody else, really, has he? Bev and Paper are clearly committed to some form of diletheism, but I think they should provide more detail.
One another proof that perspective is not reality. This is image of reality, but we have to understand perspective, because we know, for example, if some object is going away from us, he is getting smaller and smaller. So according to him, that would mean that in reality, object is getting smaller and smaller, which is not true. So if we are, for example, we can see car going away from us, and he is getting smaller and smaller, according to his logic, it would mean that this car is really shrinking. But we know that it is not true. So nonsense is on his side, not mine. I didn't claim that we, in perspective, see what reality as it occurs in reality, because in reality, objects don't shrink with distance. So I would say that this should be clear for everyone, that perspective is not reality, just simple reality without something else like perspective. So, but this still, they are confusing orthographic view with perspective. So, if we can see, let's say, car going from left to right, so pretty much it would be nearly orthographic view. So this car would not shrink if he is going from left to right in our vision, even if he is very far away. He will not shrink. He will keep his angular size at the same level, let's say. But if he is going away from us, he's shrinking. When he is near us, he is bigger, and when he's far away from us, this car, he is small. So it would mean, according to their logic, that if car is going from left to right, is not shrinking in reality, but if this car is going away from us, is shrinking in reality. So we have a contradiction here, because car going in the same direction and being seen from two different points of view cannot shrink and not shrink at the same time. So I think that would be proof, or rather disproof, of their conundrum. This is apparent conundrum. This is not real conundrum.
It's a blue marble induced.
I would say yes. They confuse orthographic view and perspective view. So if we have two viewers, one is viewing a car going away from him, and the other guy is looking from distance to that car, and this car is going according to his sight, is going from left to right. One person is can see that car is shrinking, and another person is seeing car that is not shrinking. So it means that in reality, car is not shrinking.
He says, Bev, can you or paper explain how parallels diverge in reality? That would be really helpful.
They don't.
Mm-hmm. I would say they
So-
don't as well. But if you go and have a word with a guy called Fight the Flat Earth, he'll tell you that they do, and he'll tell you exactly how it works. I'd say it's impossible, but Fight the Flat Earth's your man, Betty.
So he is trying, Baby is trying to induce confusion in the beginning of the statement. I always thought that parallel lines, by definition, cannot meet in reality or in imagination. So he is equivocating reality with imagination.
Yeah.
And this is not the same. But
Says
he's
he can't even
equivocating.
imagine parallels being not parallel. They can't meet, even in your imagination. But like what he's done is here, referring to Paper's claim that parallels diverge in reality. I mean, that's what all of these arguments are about now.
Yes.
Betty's false or misrepresentation. Well, it's just a blatant lie.
Yes,
Really?
I didn't say about reality. I said about image. Image of reality is not reality. First, proof I said about these two persons seeing car from two different viewpoints. But general proof is that our image is 2D. We have picture in 2D of reality, and we know that reality is 3D. So image of reality cannot be reality. Simple, because image is 2D, like a photo or picture, and reality is not 2D, but 3D. Simple. That's why image cannot be reality. Sorry.
Yeah, so Betty, obviously, parallels don't do that, and that's just you being blatantly dishonest. Mark it down, Betty. I think you are lying about this specifically so you can create a false narrative, because people on your side, Betty, hold a contradiction that verticals can be both perpendicular to a horizontal plane and diverging, which is a contradictory thing within geometry, at least. But we know that. We know that the contradiction's there, 'tis globe, so don't worry about it. There's no need to lie about other people. We know there's contradictions. Just accept it, be happy with it, say 'tis globe and move on. Blue Marble's going to do that and help you anyway here. We'll look at this. Blue Marble essay. Okay. So now we're done with Betty. He might come back again in a bit. Blue Marble. You contend that an auto level establishes a horizontal plane of reference, and I agree. Does anybody know what contend means? Because this is how people get away with bullshittery, trying to create a false impression about things.
To have, because I have in my dictionary, so it is like to have own opinion or assert something.
Yeah, it's like well, I mean, I've got like an argument type thing. A contender is somebody who is trying to argue or win a point or put across an argument.
To hold position in discussion, yes.
Mm-hmm. So I would say that I don't contend that auto level establishes a horizontal plane of reference. I just state that it does. I'm not contending it. I'm not. I think Blue might do, or contend some part about it, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm not contending it.
But still, in these two first sentences, there is contradiction, and he cannot see that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he's saying that he agrees that auto level establishes a horizontal plane of reference, he agrees with that, but he disagrees that level is horizontal.
Mm-hmm. So he contends about level is horizontal, right? He's the contender.
Yes, but there is internal contradiction. How curved or not horizontal level can establish a horizontal level? Establishes horizontal because itself it is horizontal. So it's just a tool which is leveling itself, and by means of leveling itself, it automatically establishes horizontal plane. So assertion that level is not horizontal implies that auto level cannot establish horizontal plane, which is not true, of course. So he's in contradiction within his two statements here. He cannot say that level is not horizontal because auto level establishes a horizontal plane. If a level is not horizontal, it cannot establish a horizontal plane. So in these two sentences, this is blatant contradiction here.
I think they have a way of compartmentalizing these two things, which, I mean, it may be very hard, but again, we'd have to have a blue marble scientist to let us know the exact procedure. But it is almost as if he sees the auto level establishing the horizontal, and then immediately after that, he can separate level from horizontal. After just stating that the two are inexplicably linked, then he separates them again. Boom.
Yes, complete nonsense. So non sequitur and nonsense, contradiction.
He says, if an auto level is establishing a horizontal plane of reference of at an elevation of 3 meters above sea level, according to it's a 3 meters above sea level. I mean, why 3 meters? Who said that? I don't know where he's got that from. Yeah, I know, but I don't know where he's got 3 from. He's just, he likes the 3, doesn't he? He likes to keep his 3s rolling about.
What surveyor is establishing auto level at setting up auto level at 3 meters? He has to be very tall.
Yeah, above sea level when you're right at the beach. So, but yeah, let's just imagine that keep Blue's 3. We'll keep saying the 3 for Blue, right? According to your assertion, my assertion that level is a horizontal plane, that horizontal plane will be 3 meters above sea level all the way to infinity.
True. Yes, it will be. Yes.
Well, I mean, he's again playing a little bit of trickery, because what's sea level? When I'm talking about elevations, they're reference to the mean sea level. Because at Southport, right, Liverpool, we have a 10-meter tide. So it's a little bit vague. I mean, other places only have short tides and whatnot, but we do have a 10-meter tide there.
Yes, that would be a problem. But let's say that he meant mean sea level.
Yeah, let's say that Blue Marble Science made one of his usual purposeful mistakes, and we've spotted it. And he purposely has missed out mean sea level when he's talking about that now. I mean, he knows that. Everybody else knows that. And thank you, Blue, for leaving those mistakes in for us so we can point out the flaws in your argument. So, right, okay. Reference... if an auto level is establishing a horizontal plane of reference at an elevation of 3 meters above mean sea level, according to your assertion, that horizontal plane will be 3 meters above mean sea level all the way to infinity.
Yes.
I don't think they've measured all the way to the mean sea level to infinity.
By the way, he said, according to your assertion, but he agreed with that assertion. And he does
agree. Yeah. He does agree about that. Yeah, you're right. Remember, your Euclid now, Bev. It's not my Euclid. It's there for anyone. It's one of the most popular books. I mean, I didn't write it, so it's the second most popular book by copies written, I think. Second only to the Bible. Well, I didn't have anything to do with the Bible, nor did I have anything to do with the elements. I just use it as a base understanding for mathematics, logic. I personally, I think it's a logic instruction book. He says, parallel lines or planes can't intersect. Yeah, that's right. If you disagree with that, please provide a reason. Like, why would anybody disagree with parallel? Have a word with Fight the Flat Earth. Please provide a reason. If level is horizontal, the horizontal plane of your auto level must always remain at a constant elevation. It doesn't.
It does.
Well,
it does.
The crosshairs don't actually move anywhere. This is one of the things we have to keep pointing out to people, right? The crosshairs don't travel anywhere. All you're doing is there's a camera, right, on the back of the lens. And then just inside the lens, there's a little piece of plastic film that is stuck to the lens. You look through that, and the image is on the other side of the big lens at the end of the thing. So that's the bit that you're looking at. Now, it doesn't actually travel anywhere. It's the light in the distance traveling to the optics of that machine. Right? And that only works for a certain distance away from it. I don't understand what's difficult about this.
They have problem with optical axis. So if horizontal is in the middle of the lens, as it should be, so that horizontal would be in optical axis.
Yeah.
This middle of the lens. So it means that rays of light incoming in straight line along this optical axis, they will not what is the word, they will not decline. So it would pass lens as a straight line on other side. This is what optical axis means. It will not incline to up or down or left or right. It will go, it will pass through the lens without any deviation. This is what happens with light which is going along optical axis. But Blackpool Tower or whatever object is, the light incoming to that lens is not coming along this optical axis. So it has to diverge or converge, dependent of type of lens, but it is not going through the lens in straight line because it is coming into lens from different angle. That's why there is a difference between things lying strictly in this horizontal plane and optical axis and lying outside of this optical axis. And of course, horizon and things lying on horizon or on the ground are below in perspective. So they are incoming to this lens from different angle. So this is simple. That's why
we will be doing these tests to do this, right? Talking about what you see is fruitless task, really, isn't it? Because nobody else knows exactly what you're talking about unless you can actually see
yes,
it.
I guess.
Yourself.
I guess, yes.
The only way we can do this is by explaining it when we actually do the pictures, and then we can then develop tests and try and see what we can see more when we do it. But we will be doing these sort of things live like we do. We'll be doing way more of it. So well done, Blue. Thank you very much. You're giving us inspiration to do more of what we were doing anyway. Strangely enough, it's the stuff that we were doing that you guys keep talking about. And look at all of the stuff that we've been talking about, and nobody's actually gone over any of the footage yet. Wonder why that is. Because we've been too busy talking about it. We can go over the footage when we go over and do it ourselves. We'll do it live so everybody can actually see what we're doing. They won't be able to say you're lying because you've done it in a pre-prepared video and messed about with it. No, we'll do it actually live. Then people can actually see what it is as we're doing it actually live. And we can put alongside it the camera. So,
afternoon.
Hey, Rob.
Microphone.
Afternoon.
Yeah, that sounds good, yeah.
All right, then. Cool. I'll be on mute.
He says, the horizontal plane of your auto level must always remain at a constant elevation. Yeah, you don't move it up or down or anything. You'd like, once you've set your auto level up, you keep it still. You don't move it around. So, yeah, well done, Blue. It doesn't. It never does. Just not in your picture. Parallel lines or planes can't intersect. If you disagree with that, please provide a reason. If level is horizontal, the horizontal plane of your auto level must always remain at a constant elevation. It doesn't. It never does. Not just in your picture. This happens in every picture, and it becomes more and more obvious as distance increases.
Yes. So very good that he is saying in picture, not in reality, in picture. Yes, perspective.
Yeah, he
You
thinks
cannot,
that the picture proves reality, right?
no, they are ignoring, they are trying to ignore perspective. I don't know why. Okay, I do know why.
It's his
Because
globe.
if they they would take perspective into consideration, there is no explanation for curvature. So this is the only way that they can support visual drop, is to ignore perspective. And that this is what they are doing now. They are trying to confuse perspective with reality, or just to ignore perspective to support their claim of curving level or dropping level, let's say. This is the only way that they are trying to justify this visual drop, and this visual drop has nothing to do with curvature. So it is perspective drop, normal drop, as in my example in corridor, because if you are staying in that long corridor, the ceiling is going down in perspective, and the floor is going up. And both walls are going, the wall being on the right side is going to the left, to the center, and vice versa. So ceiling in distance is going down, which is not in reality going down because it is at the same elevation. And floor being at the same elevation is going up. So we can see that perspective in 2D image, as we can see, for example, with naked eyes or camera, they cannot depict reality as it is, because obviously floor is not going up and ceiling is not going down. But in perspective, it is. But they are trying or to ignore that, or to confuse this drop or rise with reality. This is, I don't understand why they are doing that.
It says it happens in every picture. Every picture.
Yes, it does. It happens. Yes.
Yeah.
This
the curvature.
No, perspective.
No,
perspective.
Tis globe.
Yes, I know.
Every picture, tis globe.
So they are ignoring that this is a perspective. They're saying, no, this is not perspective, this is curvature. So where is perspective?
I don't.
Disappears?
Do you think they do that? I think they just say tis globe. Tis globe. I don't think they bother to actually reason anything for any reason at all, because there's every chance that you might come to an uncomfortable realization, and so for that reason, I don't think you can. Because, like, what happens if you find a contradiction, and you're the sort of person that can't just dismiss contradictions or accept them? I mean, what does that do to your mind? Bob the Science Guy.
For me, this is very sad, because they obviously know that perspective is a real thing in image. But for defense of the globe, they are just ignoring.
Yeah, Wally agrees. He's ignoring perspective. He wanted you to know. We don't bother looking at perspective at all. We just say, tis globe.
Yes, yes. So they are showing picture, and every picture has to involve perspective. Why? Because camera and our eyes and whatever optical device is using lens.
See what he's saying here, look. He says perspective makes things smaller and curvature makes things lower. So it's
No,
curvature that makes stuff go down.
I just explained with the corridor. Corridor and this floor is not only getting smaller, but it's getting higher. So how he could
No,
explain
that's curvature. This globe.
So the floor is curving up and ceiling is curving down
Yep.
at the
This
same
globe.
time.
Yep. This globe. Contradiction,
But
right? You
no,
can't
no,
have a
no,
contradiction without a globe. So that proves that there's a globe.
not only
That's
globe,
right.
but also concave. Globe and concave, because ceiling is concave and the floor is convex, or vice versa, because they are diverging, they are converging in two different directions. So ceiling is going down and floor is going up at the same time. So it means that we have convex and concave Earth at the same time. Impossible. Wally, please think before you write something.
Wally says perspective is linear. Curvature is squared. So that's how you know. Tis globe. You have two different functions within one thing. Square it.
You have to say it right though. You have to yell linear and squared.
Yeah.
Yell it.
Perspective is linear. Curvature is squared. Second
so-
polynomial.
So he's just disproving himself because
Tis globe. Tis globe. Sorry, yes. Oh yes, a quadratic function. Quadratic function, apart from being impossible in reality, proves a globe. That's right, isn't it?
and by the way, the only thing in perspective, what perspective is not doing with lines is not curving them. Never.
No, that's a squared function.
Yes, so you cannot explain with perspective straight lines curving, because they don't. A lens has no ability to curve, to make appearance of curved line when a line is straight. Perspective will never do that.
That's where the squared function comes in, right? In your mind, you can take that perspective and square it, and then you add the curvature in, right? So Blue Marbles says it here. It says, if level is horizontal, because the level is the tool that establishes a horizontal, but if level is horizontal, the horizontal plane of your auto level must always remain at a constant elevation. It doesn't, says Blue. It never does. So it is establishing a horizontal plane of equal elevation, right? It doesn't slope up or down. It doesn't change elevation, but Blue Marble says it doesn't. It never does. It never stays at an equal elevation. Not just in your picture. He says this happens in every picture, and it becomes more and more obvious as distance increases. This happens in every picture, right? You happened to unwillingly hit the sweet spot at 13 miles. There's a 13-mile sweet spot for an auto level. Who'd have thought it? He can tell that from a YouTube video that he's seen. He's very good at this sort of stuff. So I wonder whether we could tell them that at the auto level place, that there's a sweet spot at 13 miles.
But still, it is irrelevant. He is not talking about reality. He says that it doesn't, it never does in the picture, not
In
in
any
reality.
picture.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course, I agree with him.
Yeah,
Yes, in the
Blue Marble
picture.
Science does a lot of, well, they get a lot of their material, pictures, from YouTube videos and from the internet. And then they analyze these pictures with their Blue Marble scientific methods. So, like, they know about it. They can say 'tis globe from any picture, anywhere,
Yes,
at any time.
yes, of course, but still, it is not reality. So in the picture, yes, it drops seemingly according to perspective, and in reality, nothing changes because auto level is where it was. It will not change elevation.
Yeah. Yeah, the line within the crosshair within the auto level stays in one position.
Of course.
Yeah. And he says, you happen to unwittingly hit the sweet spot at 13 miles. At that distance, with your optics, lots of detail are clear and apparent. This is when you're looking in the distance. 13 miles in the distance, the sweet spot, says Blue Marble, of when you're taking the back image of an auto level 13 miles away. We know how tall that building is, Bev. Yeah. All of the buildings over there on that sort of coast bit, they've all been made already. They've been established. They do actually have a height. So well done. Yes, we do know that, Blue. We clearly see where the horizontal plane of your auto level intersects that building. No, you don't. You don't. I don't see that at all. You see where the crosshair is in the auto level, and you see the image that's come to the front of the auto level as well. That's it.
So yes, he's confusing image with reality. This auto level is shooting image. You can see that auto level or this horizontal crosshairs are shooting image, not reality. That's the point which they are missing here. They are missing the point. You can see that crosshairs being like few centimeters before your eyes are in a fixed position, and this image of Blackpool Tower, because it is very far away, it dropped according to this perspective. Image dropped. Blackpool Tower didn't drop. Image dropped according to perspective. Like ceiling is dropping in corridor and floor is going up in perspective. But they are still at the same position. They are not changing position. Perspective is changing image of this ceiling or floor. The same with Blackpool Tower. We are talking about image, not real Blackpool Tower.
Yeah.
They need time
Blue
to
Marble
get
says, we clearly see that the horizontal of your plane or auto level intersects that building, which it doesn't. We know, and you know, that the sea level has dropped away from horizontal, says Blue.
image
the level
dropped.
drops away from horizontal by about 100 feet. So there's a difference of 100 feet, according to Blue Marble Science, between the auto level in Southport and Blackpool, 13 miles away, 100 feet, Blue Marble Science says.
Yes, he's ignoring perspective. He's not, now he is ignoring this shrinking. So this distance between, let's say, the floor or the ground or the level, ground level, and crosshairs, let's say, he said, let give him 3 meters. So these 3 meters in perspective at that distance will cover, I would say, maybe 100 meters or more between middle crosshair and bottom crosshair.
Well, I don't know. Right, can I just run you through how you do it? Okay, so we've got an auto level, and in order to establish what Blue Marble's talking about, there's 100 meters, right? So 13 miles, right? Now, we're talking about rise over run, an elevation change of something. Okay, so when we work out rise over run, we get a horizontal distance. That's 13 miles. Okay, now, where do we go with the, I don't know, what's Blue Marble talking about? So we've got a 13-mile horizontal line. Now, does Blue Marble say that the sea level drops?
Yes, if
Yes.
level drops,
Okay.
so sea level, of course, means
So
sea
sea
level
level is down from the horizontal, right? The rise over run calculation that we're going to be doing is 13 miles horizontal and then 100 feet vertical change for the rise over run. Is that what Blue Marble's saying? Look, we know how you know the sea level has dropped away from horizontal by about 100 feet. So that's what Blue Marble's saying. 13 miles, sea level has dropped 100 feet from the horizontal. But Blue Marble says, this isn't going away. Good. I'm really glad about that, Blue Marble Science. I mean, it may sound really boring for everybody else, but this is a matter of pure logic and geometry as well. This is exactly what we do. We are the home of levelology. So we've got a 13-mile horizontal distance, checkable by Blue Marble Science. And we're dealing with a rise over run. So the level, the sea level, is 100 feet below the horizontal, and there's zero slope to a horizontal, right? Everyone agrees on that. So
Yes.
Blue Marble says that the sea level has dropped away 100 feet. There's a 100 feet difference of the sea level in Blackpool than there is in Southport. 'Tis globe, right? Must be true. Blue Marble says it.
His globe.
'Tis globe. Well, I mean, this isn't going away. So, I mean, yeah. I wonder
It
how
is
many
very
people are aware of this. 'Cause if it's not going away, a lot of people are going to have to find out about it.
This is very easy to disprove because horizon is where it is, and your horizontal crosshair is above at fixed position. It means that things which are going away, they should change angular distance, not only visual let's say, due to magnification of the lens, but also that would change angular distance between horizon and crosshairs. And it doesn't happen because the angular distance between crosshairs and horizon is fixed. You cannot change angular distance between horizon, this true horizon at the sea, and crosshairs.
Well, I've got another thing as well I'd like to point out, that an elevation change, because I have done surveying. I've got a certificate up on the wall. I'm probably one of the only people around here that have actually got any surveying training at all. And I don't know how much it is. Maybe I've been slandered about that much and nobody actually believes anything that we say anymore because of some blue marble scientists, right? But
I have no surveying training.
When you measure an elevation change, you measure a change, a vertical change from the horizontal plane established by an auto level. That's literally how you measure elevation changes. Now, Wally and Blue Marble Science and everyone that says this sort of thing, like Chaiki and Jesse Kozlowski, no doubt all of the Blue Marble scientists are actually saying in here that the water level, the sea level, changes 100 feet from Southport to Blackpool. An elevation change of 100 feet.
No, that's nonsense. But
that's
by
what
the
he's
way,
saying. That's what he's saying, though. That's literally what Blue Marble's saying. This is the dogma. This is the Blue Marble science dogma that has been laid out for everybody by people like Blue Marble, people like Where's Wally. Literally, it's there wrote down. We clearly see where the horizontal plane of your auto level intersects that building. We know, and you know, he says, that sea level has dropped away from horizontal by about 100 feet. This isn't going away. And I'm really happy that it isn't going away. Because Blue Marble states that there's a 100 feet elevation change. Unless you don't think that elevation changes are measured as a vertical change on a vertical datum. Wally thinks some sort of a straw man. It's not me. I'm not making the straw man look. He says, we know, and you know, our sea level does not drop from horizontal. I know that. There's no such thing as a drop from horizontal of the sea level. It's ridiculous.
Yes, this level, let's say that the ground in this example is 3 meters below established horizontal plane. It is always parallel. This level ground is always parallel to this horizontal, but it is parallel. This is not on the same axis. And I would say, I am not surveyor, of course, but when the measurement on the rod is made, it refers, I would say, to the middle crosshair, because I'm not sure. I am waiting for your confirmation. So is this true that measurement of measuring rod is referring to this middle crosshair or not?
Yeah.
Because yes?
Yes, the middle one. Because the
Yes,
other two are the stadia hairs that make the
yes,
isosceles, if you will.
yes. So, and this is in the middle only. So this middle point is there because it is optical axis. So if you are moving away measuring rod, you are moving along this optical axis.
Hmm.
It means that you will never drop in perspective from that. But the one condition has to be fulfilled, that you are exactly on this exact optical axis, not parallel, but exactly on that optical axis. And your ground level is below, is parallel to this horizontal plane, but is not the same. This is not this optical axis. That's why you could not measure distance or whatever if, for example, from this bottom crosshair, because it would be the discrepancy. The only way to keep a ratio 1 to 1 is to keep a measuring rod on optical axis. But image of black hole tower is not on optical axis because it is lying on the ground, and the ground is 3 meters below. I don't know how to explain it more clearly, but still,
He's
it
just
is not.
making that number up. That's not really, wasn't really 3 meters. That's just because
It
Blue
doesn't
likes the
matter.
threes.
What matters that it has to be on this optical axis. So the measuring rod is measuring real, is not diverging or whatever, is not misleading this measurement only because it is made on this particular optical axis where the crosshairs are, the middle of the lens. But the ground or whatever it is, 3 meters or half of a meter down or up, you cannot make that kind of measurement because that would be false measurement. So this is just so measuring rod would be at the same elevation.
Well, that's what we have to test. Literally, I mean, that's what we're going to be doing. That's what these guys seem to want us to be able to do. I mean, it's pointless us speculating about things that may or may not happen. Blue Marble and Wally and the Blue Marble scientists seem to think that the sea level changes 100 feet in elevation between Southport and Blackpool. Now, I'm not too sure about that. I'd say that the elevation of 0 stays the same from Southport to Blackpool. Like a mean sea level will be the same in Southport and Blackpool with 0 change in elevation. But Blue Marble Science and Wally and Chaiki, people like that, they've seen a thing on a YouTube video and looked in the background image of a video that they've seen, and they're doing surveying, and they say, although they've never been to Blackpool, they've never been to Southport, so they've never even looked at a video really and seen all of the footage that we get to see it in real life, to see what it looks like. They have not got any clue that, but they say that Blackpool drops 100 feet. It's fantastic, this Blue Marble science surveying that they can do. So, well, yeah, we will be going out and doing more of it. Blue Marble Science can access the footage of all of the stuff that we actually do and misinterpret any sort of a drop from anywhere. I mean, it is the globe. So, I mean, how could it not be a globe if Blue Marble Science says there's a 100-foot difference? But then if there is no measured difference, then that surely would be a contradiction and prove that it's globe. Because you can't have a 100-foot drop from horizontal and a 0 elevation change at the same time. That would be a complete and utter contradiction, and that contradiction right there proves the globe. It's not going away. These contradictions by proof, proof through contradictions, or contradictional proof. That's what we're after nowadays. So, I mean, FE Dogma here. Check out FE Dogma. He's another one. He's one of the top guys. And he says, and in many cases, they don't even need an auto level. FE Dogma's a super guy, right? It's this guy. This is the guy that gives you the dogma. If you're a Blue Marble scientist, if you are, if you have your own personal globe, right, and you are a staunch believer, then this guy gives you the fundamentals of your globe. You don't even need an auto level to look at a picture and imagine a 100-foot drop. You don't even need an auto level, just any old picture you can get from off the internet. It says all we need is the elevation of the observer, which Blue Marble put at 3 meters. It doesn't really matter, anything. Call it whatever you want. They've got 100 feet to play with. 2 elevations of known objects in the distance, and simple understanding of a straight line of sight with 3 collinear points. So when exploring the plane, who's another one of his favourites, you might have seen that video. He did a good one. He's done most of the sightings from around here where I live. So when exploring the plane, took a photo of the Isle of Man from 940 feet on Winter Hill. And in the photo, you see 518 feet of Blackpool Tower, slightly higher than 2,037 feet Snaefell in the distance. It's plainly obvious that we see this because of Earth curvature. It's a drop. It's a Darren. Well done, Darren. Darren says it's measured. It's a 100 feet measured drop from the horizontal. Right, Darren? So Darren's supporting Blue Marble Science. We are going from a 100 feet measured drop. Don't forget, these guys, they've took an image off the internet of an optics test where we were showing what you could see over 500 meters. These guys have looked at that and gone 13 miles in the background, and they've measured a 100 feet drop of the sea level.
And this measurement was just a ruler on the screen.
No, I don't think they didn't even need a ruler. They just looked at it and went, that's about 100 feet. It's like these are Blue Marble scientists. They're surveyors and very good at this sort of stuff. And they're really getting into this. They like this. And FE Dogma, like I say. He's talking to Create Belief. I don't know. I can't even see Create Belief. I didn't see that. I don't know whether something's been deleted there. Create Belief, if you're around. Did you post anything? Or is he just sort of... He says, so the geometry to your vision changes the paths of light rays that reflect from distant objects to your eyes? Question mark. How interesting. Exactly how do our eyes cause this to happen? Our eyes don't cause anything to happen. That's
Our
fucking
eyes
stupid.
are a tool to create image on our retina. Or regarding camera, it would be lens and matrix of the camera. So rays incoming to the lens, they are refracting in the lens, intersecting, and creating an inverted image. Simple. The same thing with our eyes. So that's how image is created, or in our retina or on the matrix of the camera. This is very, very, very similar way. That's why we can recognize that what we can see on the screen of the camera and with our own eyes is the same. We can compare it when we are taking a photo with our, for example, phone cell. So we can compare. Oh, I can see real thing and I can see the image of this thing in my camera screen. And we can compare. Oh, I can see the same because camera and our eyes are working on the same principles, optical principles. That's why the image in the camera and in our eyes and in our retina is very similar or just the same.
And well, don't forget that these guys haven't used their eyes at all. All they've done is they've took an image from a YouTube video of a video that we live streamed when we put a camera on the back of an auto level. Right now, putting a camera on the back of the auto level completely nullifies it from any surveying procedure whatsoever. It's just an optics test to show people what it actually looks like when you look through an auto level and how far you can actually see and what the image looks like when you are looking at that sort of a distance, 500 meters. Don't forget about that, because that's what we're talking about here. We're not going over the actual optics of all of these things. We're just talking about some guys that have got crazy, really, about something, and they've done some blue marble science surveying, a bit like Ranty did when they get pictures from the internet and analyze them wrongly. But what blue marble science has done, and we got Stefan and Darren and Where's Wally and Chaiki and all of the others, Ranty, Conspiracy Cats, Ruhif, Slice Barcane. How many others are there that are involved in this? Seems to be quite a lot of people involved in it, pretty much. All of the same names and all of the same people. And they're all saying that the water level, the sea level, drops by 100 feet from Southport to Blackpool without even going there.
Right, because they saw a picture. So I was just responding to Effie Dogma, but it means that you cannot use image because it involves perspective. You cannot use that image as a replacement of a surveyor's measurement, because surveyor's measurement with rod, measuring rod, is getting rid of perspective, because it has to measure real distances, let's say orthographic distances. real inches, not angular changes of an object with distance. This
Yeah,
is
they
not
don't
what.
do that. You know, they
Yes,
do
yes,
differential leveling.
but pictures are just dealing with angles because of lens. So taking picture as a proof of something just to replace surveyor's measurement is just nonsense. You cannot do that because your outcome will be completely different, because measurements are not as we see reality with our eyes. They don't match visually. Sorry. So bringing pictures, it just I don't know what the purpose of that is.
Yeah,
It cannot
Wally's
work.
again and Blue Marble and all of that. They all think there's a horizontal plane established all the way to Blackpool Tower. I mean, they've not got a clue about actual surveying, and worse than that, they've took a picture of a camera that's on the back of an auto level. I mean, it's not a surveying procedure. They know nothing about the situation. They know nothing about the location. They know nothing about the elevations of any of the points. They've never been to this place yet. They just take a picture like they do what Ranty did. I mean, most people aren't aware of the actual play that these guys are doing, and they're not even aware of it either. But they're helping us. So please don't let this go away, guys. We will be out there redoing this. In fact,
they think you're going to delete the video.
Which video? It's on Geo's.
Yeah,
it's not even on my stream. We've never done it live here. We've never had the chance to.
Well, whatever video has the picture, they think you're going to delete it.
Well, nobody's been over it, right? Because it's on Geo's. Anyone can go and have a look at it. It's not even on my stream. I didn't even bring it over here. It was just something we did to help Geo show everybody the sort of live streaming that we can do on Discord. Stuff that nobody else on the internet, on YouTube, actually does. Nobody else has ever put a camera on an auto level and gone out and filmed and broadcast that live to Discord. Nobody's ever done that before, just us. Only On the Level does it here. And strangely enough, a load of Blue Marble scientists seem to think that they can do surveying with it. So, you guys, we're going to be going out. We'll be going out and do some optics, right? But you Blue Marble scientists, you can come along and do some Blue Marble surveying. Images in the background. We do it loads. We've got cameras. We can do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean,
you can look
Wally
at birds in the background. Like, oh, look at that bird.
There's Wally again, though, saying disclose. Wally saying again that the image can't be trusted. That you say the image can't be trusted, so maybe it should be deleted as it's unreliable.
No, it's just the optics. We went there to go and do the optics to show when certain lying people that aren't really surveyors, and they may or may not live in Maine, say that they can sight to 1 arc second. That you can't actually do that with optics. You can't look through an optical device and get the crosshairs to 1 second accuracy. It's not possible. Can't do it. So it's really bad for somebody to claim that. And it's weird that people go, oh, we're not going to bother looking at that. What we'll do is look at 13 miles in a distance. Oh, look, there's a bird over there. Oh, look, there's a tower. Which we knew that was going to happen. That's why we did it at Geo's. And strangely enough, that's how we know that this whole place is set up from the Flat Earth Society, because nobody gives a shit. We try and show people what happens, and this is what we get. Nobody else is bothered about actually looking at stuff, but we are in this server. And we are going to be doing more tests for this sort of stuff. And we will be able to check that whether blue marble science is a 100-foot elevation change is actually occurring. I doubt it is, but I mean, Blue Marble says it is, and Wally says it is, Stefan says it is, and Darren says it is, and all of these people that are hot in our YouTube channel, in the chat, there's loads of them. So they'll be dead happy that we are going to go out and either prove or disprove a 100-foot drop in elevation. So I say to Blue, I do not contend that level is horizontal. I make a statement that level is horizontal. I do not contend that an auto level establishes a horizontal plane of reference with 0 elevation change, with 0 slope in any direction. I make that as a statement. If you wish to contend these statements, please make an argument against them. That's like, make an argument against those statements, not say, look at this picture. Please make an argument. Not about the picture. About these statements. Please. If you can, Blue Marble scientists.
They can't. Look at them.
I know. Look at that.
They're all, honestly, I've not seen them this excited in a long time.
It's because we might be chance of us going back out again, doing some more filming. They realise that we are the only ones, and they're not going to be able to do it themselves.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for all those guys out there at the moment that are literally wetting their pants over this, I say that other than what I wrote in the chat, just for PG reasons. You'll be pleased to know that yes, there is. We know you love Bev so much that you took so much time to cut him out of videos, make little memes of him. We're going to do it all again.
We're going to go on tour with the rod, aren't we? I'm going to be right in that crosshairs.
Yeah, we're
again.
even going to do, you love it that much. We're even going to do some merch, okay?
Yeah.
So we'll have, if you find a little screenshot of Bev you like, we can get it put on a t-shirt for you. Maybe we can even get Bev to sign it for you.
Oh, yes. Tis Globe.
Yeah?
I'll sign it, Tis Globe, Bev.
Well, you could have your own personalised message.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Almost like a book signing kind of thing.
Yes.
We could do a
Yeah,
special membership deal
I
for
have a
him, couldn't we?
request. I have a request.
Of course you can.
Can we bring back the Rob Keane face masks?
No, we don't want to bring the Rob Keane face mask, but we could have a t-shirt. A Rob Keane.
I was just kidding, but I remember the Rob Keane face mask, and that shit was hilarious.
I've still got it.
That makes me feel good.
Oh, it looks like Darren's going to define what science is.
Yeah, they sound a little bit.
Yeah. Well, they'd have
upset
to
at
redefine
doing
science,
stuff.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely do science with looking at a picture from YouTube. Yeah, absolutely. let's rewrite the books, right?
Is
Let's
it that
do
easy?
it. Yeah. Obviously, it is Globe.
So we didn't all need to go to school or anything.
No,
No.
just his globe.
It's Globe. That's all you need to know. There's only one thing you need to know, really.
Okay. Yeah, well, Darren, what science would you like us to do?
Blue marble science. We've already done it.
Oh, yeah,
we
that's
helped
easy.
them
His globe.
100 feet elevation change. Southport to Blackpool.
Oh, they
We
want you
want
to
to-
explain it now. They
Uh,
want you to
No,
explain
no
it.
gratuitous blue marble science either.
Wally wants you to take it to a rocket launch. The
I
auto
don't
level
think
and a
we
rod.
have any rocket launches in the UK.
Oh, you'd have to
When's
come
the
see
next one
us, yeah.
scheduled? The next
never,
UK one?
never.
No,
I don't know.
nah. I tell you what, Wally, though, you could do one, couldn't you?
Yeah.
In fact, get Slice Barcade. No, Red's Rhetoric. He's the one. Get him to do a GoFundMe and give him an auto level. Get him to film a rocket launch.
Oh,
Get him
okay.
an auto level and a cutout of Bev used as a rod. That would
OMG.
be
This could go
phenomenal.
far.
Mhm.
Could
Huh?
we get a life-size cutout of Bev made?
Could we do a rocket? Could we rocket me?
Yes.
To the moon!
Film it through the auto level.
Okay, so Darren wants a hypothesis and a test for going out and looking through cameras at stuff.
Oh, well, we've got a realizing Euclid test, Darren. A full
Oh, is that what
hypothesis
he's
and
on
everything.
about?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, okay. Challenge is accepted, Darren. Blue Marble Science versus On the Level. Hypothesis and experiment to prove level is boom. And you guys can't use a picture from the internet. You've got to actually do a hypothesis and a test.
Yeah, outside.
There you go.
Outside in the fresh air. It'll be good for you.
You have to
Take
use
the
your own
families out.
tools. You can't just use pictures that you've got off the internet and analyze
Absolutely.
that. That's, well, I mean, unless that is the Blue Marble scientific method.
It'll be a
You
good day
supposed
out. I
to-
mean, oh, I'm sorry. You go ahead, Emma.
No, I was just going to say, are there supposed to be assumptions in science?
Within your hypothesis.
Yeah, well, right.
Okay, so basically, you weren't happy with the hypothesis.
He wasn't happy with what hypothesis? When we went there to do the optics test of 500 meters. Or you're not happy about Blue Marble, like looking at the pictures in the background. Oh, look, there's a bird over there. Look at that tree. It is globe. Look at the tree.
Oh,
Mountain.
Darren, you make your own assumptions. You make your assumptions when you go out to do your hypothesis and test. We'll be looking forward to that.
Mhm.
Get out. I mean, stop being
Challenge
in front of your
accepted.
computer all the time. Yeah. Get out
Does
there,
he
a little
mean-
exercise.
Does he want like an overall? Because I'm a bit confused by what Darren is on about.
Oh, Darren just gave us our assumption. Bev, you don't need to come up with an assumption. Darren has provided one.
Well, the assumption was what we were doing. I'll point it out to Darren, right? When we actually went there was somebody made a claim that they could measure to 1 arc second. It was actually George Nutsack. God rest his soul. And he was explaining about how you can have a 1 arc second accuracy over 500 meters, which is a further distance actually than the obviously not a surveyor that may or may not live in Maine, because he's obviously a lying twat. So he did that. So we went to go and actually see. Now, you don't have to verify. You don't have to take my word for it, because guess what? I was holding the measuring rod. So I couldn't look at it myself either. What we did was we left it for everybody else watching, for them to be able to see what they could see in the measuring rod. So, I mean, I don't know what everybody saw, because, like I say, it was being streamed live to Geo's Earth Awakening's Discord server. I was holding the measuring rod 500 meters away from the camera. I wasn't sat at Discord watching it. I wasn't sat on YouTube watching the footage of it. So I really haven't seen it. I don't know.
Hang on.
Didn't do it for me.
I need to stop you for a second because it sounded to me like you were committing tool abuse.
Me?
Yeah. You say you were 500 meters from the auto level?
I was, yeah.
That sounds like you couldn't even read the rod.
They couldn't. Like you would be one of the people watching it in Discord, and you would have said, yes, you're right. I cannot read 2.5 millimeters on that measuring rod.
And how are you supposed to be serving
we weren't.
distances? Oh.
What we were doing. Rob.
I know. I know what we were doing. I just want to make sure everybody's aware that you don't use the tool 500 meters away.
Yeah, that's why
ridiculous.
We went, because you cannot read any measurements on the measurement rod. Nevertheless, you cannot measure to 1 arc second over that distance because you cannot be accurate enough with the device.
Yeah, I totally agree and understand.
Mm-hmm.
Do any of our chat skanks agree and understand?
They're looking at the tower in the background. They didn't even hear what you said. Didn't even hear what I said. They're not interested. They're looking at Blackpool Tower. They want Blackpool Tower to drop 100 feet in the distance. They're not interested about the liar that told them that they can read to 1 arc second. Sorry, Emma.
No, I was just going to say, I'm not liking the assumption word.
Within science.
Yeah, like...
Think of it as a premise.
What I'm saying is, yes, I understand the word. I know what it means. I know what a hypothesis is. I feel like assumption is the wrong... It's like a really poor substitute.
Yeah.
Like really poor. Almost like purposely trying to make it awkward.
What they say about assume.
Yeah, there's so many other words out there that could be put in place. Not assumption. Assumption is like you've already made your mind up. Which, actually, I'm kind of just describing science, aren't I?
Uh-huh. Stefan Mudd, why? I don't know why all of the specialists within science and the International Association of Geodesy aren't wrong, Stefan. Stop saying that they are.
Does Stefan think they're all wrong?
Yeah, he's just put there. He wonders why they are. And that's terrible, that Darren, Stefan. You're gonna have to stop doing that. Please stop spreading misinformation, Stefan. That's a big thing. You can't be saying things like that. So you can't, yes, Stefan, you cannot use Blackpool Tower as a measuring rod 13 miles in the background. Yes, you're right. You can't do that. It's not a measuring rod. Blackpool Tower is just something in the background of an image of a thing that you've seen on the internet, on YouTube. I think
if you look in the background somewhere of my profile picture, there's a dinosaur.
Mm-hmm. 'Tis globe. Dinosaur in the background.
They will create their monad out of anything. They will. It's all good. 'Tis globe.
Stefan's a bit weird. Betty again. I mean, I'm not too happy about Betty doing all of this sort of stuff. And I think, if if people start writing blatant lies, I think we're just going to start deleting the comments. Right? Because even, you know how powerful words are, right? Even repeating words, negativity, repeating bullshit. No, it's not going to be on anymore, right? So, Betty says here, Paper explained it in inverted commas, bunny ears, but he claimed it was because parallel lines in reality will diverge. No, he didn't. And that's just a fucking blatant lie,
yes.
Betty, you dishonest twat.
Now he is. I would say that he is lying because he is repeating this fault.
Well, he does say, it does say here, this is false. So perhaps this is false. This bit here is talking about himself lying, right? Perhaps this is him being honest about him lying here. It's the sort of sophistry that somebody like Betty would do that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, we've had Wally do that exact same thing.
Yeah.
We had to ban him because of that. He was doing damage to himself by having.
Or maybe he's just referring to his own misrepresentation of my words.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he's saying that you explained it, and then it's false, that he lied. Right? He's just saying that what he said is false. He's sort of writing his lie, if you will. But you can interpret it however you want. I mean, that's how I interpret it when he says this is false in the middle of a statement. Like, which is false? What's he talking about? I think what he's talking about is him lying. The lie that he says here, that Paper claimed it was because parallel lines will diverge. That's false. Paper never said that.
Yes, I never said that. Yes, agree.
Yeah. Parallel lines do not diverge either in reality or imagination. He's put it again.
No. In image, not imagination.
Yeah.
Image.
He says picture. In imagination.
No. Imagination is something in our, let's say, brain. This is imagination.
Yeah, Fight the Flat Earth definitely could imagine that parallel lines intersect. He said that's what happens.
I am talking only about reality versus image, picture, not imagination. Imagination is not image. I am talking about image, photo, picture.
Are you an imaginometrist? I hope not.
No, I am not confusing imagination with image. I am not. So if Baby is watching now, please don't misrepresent my words. Please don't confuse reality with image, and please don't confuse image with imagination.
Yeah, I'd say the same as well, buddy. Please try not to misrepresent us. I mean, if you have an opinion or you think something, check first before just writing something down that's blatantly untrue. Unless, of course, you are a sophist who's got a narrative to push. Then carry on. Let's see all of your obvious bullshittery that you're trying. Like this bit here says, try thinking. You say, I do not contend that level is horizontal. I make a statement that level is horizontal. But that statement is false because it implies a contradiction. Are you a diletheist who believes that contradictions are true, but no contradiction is true?
But he didn't say which one contradiction. He should explain. If he would be if he was honest, he should name this contradiction here in that statement.
But that
But
statement, the statement that level is horizontal, that one.
Yes, he should point out where the contradiction is here, now. But he didn't.
Well, he'll be going over this. We're talking about him now. So, Betty, here's your challenge. The statement, if we've interpreted this correctly, that you say the statement level is horizontal is false because it implies a contradiction. Please state the contradiction between whatever that statement is. Level is horizontal. State the contradiction. Blue marble scientist, extraordinaire, logician, Betty. But there has to be contradictions. But he says no contradiction is true. You have acceptable paradoxes. So you have to have true contradictions. Has to be. Can't have a globe without true contradictions. Somebody surely should have told you that. Now, in reality, yes, you're right. We cannot have a contradiction. But 'tis globe. See, Darren says the contradiction is level is horizontal. Must be in the dictionaries as well, then. Contradictories in the dictionaries. The contradictionaries. Kenny, again. Kenny says, this is my contention with your statement. It's the statement about level being horizontal. They're not happy with it. He says, why is the horizontal plane, as established by the crosshairs of your properly set up and leveled auto level, increasing in elevation at an equal rate? He thinks that the horizontal is increasing in elevation. I mean, it's not. It's a bit bad to go with that. Why is the horizontal plane, which is zero slope, why is it increasing in elevation? It's like not equal to that of the established curvature of the Earth. So see, Kenny thinks that the horizontal is increasing in elevation, which would mean that the level. What does the level do?
Establishes horizontal plane of reference.
But he thinks it's increasing in elevation. So what's it increasing in elevation from? If that's the tool that establishes the horizontal plane. It seems like Kenny's got a bit of a problem. And he's even put some numbers there. 8 inches. Oh, he's got a square. There you go.
No. Perspective. He's, of course, ignoring perspective, and things are shrinking in perspective. But they are shrinking in straight lines. So no squared miles. Sorry.
Stefan, I tell you what, I will leave the photogrammetric leveling to the Blue Marble Science team. We'll do what we're doing, the optics tests, perspective tests, and the realizing Euclid tests. Anything that you guys come up with, you guys can do. You do that and sort of put it out on the YouTube. There's no problem. But what we've been doing here is we've been practicing and we've been setting it up. We've been testing our methods and all of that. So we'll just carry on doing what we do. You guys, I hope we inspire you into actually doing some of this stuff for your own. We hope that we're going to inspire lots of people to be able to come and do the realizing Euclid tests. So I'll come back to this for a bit. I haven't got any other videos or anything. I don't even know what we were meant to be doing. So thanks, I'd say thanks to the Blue Marble Science crowd to bring out these, well, we've got tons of the footage. I don't think we'll get it out. I don't think it's worth actually going out. What we're going to do is, over these next few weeks, months or whatever, we're going to be going a lot more into the members, because obviously the Blue Marble scientists can't really be trusted to get involved with any of this. They don't really have sensible ideas. They tell you to start doing things, I don't know. I mean, because when the guy that obviously isn't a surveyor, the one that was pretending to measure plumb lines, they didn't even... Do you know why they weren't looking at the distance in that one? Any ideas? Why they've got so all flustered about this sort of stuff? That's because the guy that said he'd measured plumb lines not being parallel never took any pictures. He never showed you anything. He never even put his camera up to it. It's almost as if he didn't even have the tool. Because, I mean, the one he said he was using was a 30-gram piece of equipment. You never even got to see a readout. You never even got to see what you could see through the thing. So they never even had chance to have a look at a tree in the background. It's almost as if the guy that pretends he's from Maine never actually did it. Could be a lying bastard, never actually do the whole thing. The people that have pushed this paralogism, right, obviously, I think, set it all up, and he never actually did the thing. Jesse Kozlowski got an auto level out of the box and put it on a tripod that he'd never used before, that was all polished and shiny, and then looked over the water, measured the height of it with his stick at the side. Obviously, he's not a real surveyor. He's never done that before. The other guy that said he'd measured plumb lines being parallel, lying shit. All of them. You'd almost say it's fraud. But I don't think they took any money, at least not off the members of the public, like Red's Rhetoric or anything like that. He didn't do that sort of a thing. But they did put in the minds of people this idea that there's a drop in the distance, right? Now, that drop in the distance is proved false by Jesse Kozlowski and his measurements over Lake Pontchartrain, which were all at the same elevation. There's no drop because Blue Marble said there's a sagittar. So you can't have a 90-foot hump in the middle whilst you're having a drop. That's a contradiction. You can't have an up and a down at the same time. It's an unbelievable contradiction that has to occur. But, I mean, it is globe. So you have to accept the contradiction of there being a drop and a hump at the same time. We do have some pictures. Let me see if I can find some pictures. I should have left the file open. because we have been out. We've been out and done a lot of these things of well, here's one. See, there's a nice picture. Apparently you don't need an auto level or anything. There's a lovely picture of Bedford Canal. That one. That's from 8 inches above that's the view that Robotham would have had if he'd have ever done what he said that they have said he did. When the Flat Earth Society were originally starting this thing out, well, that's what Robotham would have been looking at. Except I don't think he had such a good zoom, so he might have not been able to see that either. So if you want to know where your all of this idea of drop in the distance comes from, it's from somebody setting up a false narrative. Flat Earth Society telling you that there's a curve.
Sorry, but in this picture we can see the line or imaginary line where the real object is and where reflection is, and this is one line, let's say, so it is not curved line. So this picture disproves globe, I would say. But that's me.
Yeah, they're just pictures. They're just pictures.
So if Blue Marble Science is saying that he can prove something with picture, so I would say that with that picture, I would say that this picture disproves globe.
Yeah, what about that one, the next one?
This on the beach?
Yeah.
Nothing special for me.
The drop. Can you see the drop where the horizontal and the level change?
What do you mean?
Well, see the water, the horizon. I mean, that's above that guy's head, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. So is that a drop of the water from him? Is that obviously like that's where the horizontal, the water level obviously drops as shown in that picture, right? In the distance, it drops away from like 100 feet or something.
Yes, but it is above his head. So because this picture is taken from like I would say above.
Nah.
So
No.
what height? What elevation of that guy?
About zero. Like that guy will be higher than where the camera is. The camera was like on the floor at the beach. Yeah, that's when we go and do Under the Horizon. That's why we did Under the Horizon, because you can definitely get under the horizon. When that's how you do it. Southport Beach. But that's obviously dropping, right? So that water level in the distance there is dropping from where that guy is. It obviously has to be lower than him, doesn't it? And that proves a globe, because blue marble science, it's 100-foot at least drop. I mean, that boat's further away than Blackpool would be.
For me, it doesn't prove a globe at all.
No? Oh.
No, sorry.
We tried for you, Blue. Tried for you. Paper's not having it. There you go.
Yes,
Here's another one.
I don't understand.
There you go. Look at that one. He's over the curve, and that's the reflection.
Yes. Reflection from what?
From him being over the curve.
So how we can see reflection when it is physically, allegedly, beyond the curve or below the curve?
It's his globe. It's the only way you can. The only way you can get that reflection in that thing there like that is because it's a globe. It's his globe. That's the sort of thing that we saw when we went to Bedford, and facing that thing, or the only conclusion you could come to is Robotham never did what he claimed he could do. It's impossible. Can't be done. At 8 inches, you cannot do what Robotham claimed he could do. And has anybody else ever tried it? Who else has ever tried to replicate what Robotham did? How many other filmed footages are there of exactly what Robotham did?
I would say that only attempt was from, if I am not mistaken, it was Lady Anne Blunt, or she allegedly made a photograph from something.
She did it from the bridge, didn't she? From one bridge to the other bridge, I think.
Maybe I cannot remember now.
But Robotham was 8 inches above the water in his waders with a telescope. Only him, supposedly, in the middle of the canal, telling everybody what he was seeing. That's the story. And then there's a drawing of what he supposedly saw. As you can see through these pictures, it's not possible. We did it in early spring, and I don't think we could have got there any better to be able to see at a time where it wasn't warmed up. This is what happens over water, particularly when you're 8 inches above it.
Yes, you are at very narrow angle, so the water seems more smooth than it is in reality at that angle. So it is able to create a mirror. At higher elevation, there would be no mirroring.
So I contend that Robotham never actually did it. Now, he can't stick up for himself. And the only evidence we've got is the fact that when we went back there to actually do it, it became obvious that it was impossible that he actually did it in the first place. Now, if anybody else has got any other footage that proves different to that, let's have a look at it. But I'd say, yeah, Robotham never actually did what he said he did to start off with. Now, Wallace did it from the bridge. Guess who's got all of the equipment to do that? With the P1000s. Wallace didn't even have P1000s. We've got infrared P1000s, normal P1000s. We've got P900s. There's people out there with P950s. We've got an auto level. We've got all the equipment. We've got the ability to live stream it all to this very Discord channel. Because when we went out and to Geos, to Earth Awakenings, to do the demonstration of the optics to show that the guy that probably doesn't live in Maine was lying when he said he could measure the things that he never even measured, because he didn't even have the equipment that he said he had. He just showed a picture of a ruler at the side of it. And he's never been out there to do it again. He's never filmed it again. So, obvious liar. So we went out there to show Geo and everybody else the capability that we have here on Discord. Now, when we go out there, we have the ability to live stream individual cameras to the live stream on Discord. That's what we were going there to show Geo and to hopefully show Rumpus, so we could get Rumpus to do his test, because we want to encourage Rumpus. We wanted to encourage Ranty to go up and do his Winter Hill thing with cats. We wanted to encourage Rumpus to get out there and actually film this stuff and do it. So we showed everybody how easy it is for us to live stream this stuff to Discord. And if anybody's actually been in here when we do this sort of stuff live, we've been out to Southport quite many times. When we were finding, you know, that picture that Ranty got from the internet, Blue Marble Scientist handed him a picture from the internet. We were the ones that actually found out where the photographer was when he did that shot. And we did that live, broadcast it to this Discord. So the people in this Discord knew exactly where we were. We could get the shot from the same position to see what it looks like. So, yeah, we were the ones that found out exactly where that guy was when he took that picture. And that, again, a complete and utter setup by all of those people. Everyone involved. Even the guy that took the picture, he's been paid off. He doesn't want to bother coming talking to anybody about it. Whereas we actually have footage of our own. We don't rely on anybody else's footage. Strange as that may seem, we don't need to go to YouTube to pull pictures off wherever. We use our own stuff. That's why we went out there to do this stuff. That's why this pictures, that's us at Bedford level. We went there to go and do it. It's the first thing my son did with his camera, photography. I don't know what's that one. How long's that? Oh. No, that one's no good. Sorry. Here you go. The old Bedford River Delve. What are the guys going on about? Yeah, that's that one. There's the It is. It's a fart powered one though, Mike. That's a guy on a boat in Bedford Canal. Because some of us have actually been there. Unlike Rumpus, we have pictures and footage. I will start putting these things together. For members only sort of stuff. We're going a bit more exclusive, obviously, because there are Blue Marble scientists that they're scared to come in and talk. But that's what we're after. We want a conversation. We want people to feel more involved in these tests. We can do it on YouTube and all of that, but it's much better if people come into Discord and then they can get involved. You can actually flip the cameras for yourself and see which camera feed you want to be looking at to give you an idea of you being there at the places. So these places at Blackpool, like, we can try and give you an idea of what they actually look like. You get some good pictures from the cameras. Has anyone got that ranty picture? Because there's... I don't know whether I can find it anywhere. I say ranty picture. The picture that Ranty got given off the internet.
I saw that many years ago, so I even, and there were few of them, so I cannot recollect now which one it was. But it was about Blackpool Tower and let's say surroundings.
See, we do have a fair few of these pictures. I'll have to go through them all. But this is our study part that we're gonna go over. Is the what we call the stones at Blackpool. I've got tons of footage of this. There's some really nice photos in here. So yeah, we've got loads of footage and loads of pictures because these guys seem to think, particularly the ones, the Blue Marble scientists, the ones that took an image from a YouTube video, they seem to think that that's the only footage that we've got. We've not. We've got loads of it. We've been out loads of times. Take all of this, and we have actually done a study of this particular place rather than focusing on Blackpool Tower. We focus on the bit to the left, this part here. That's going to be where we're going to be looking at when we actually go out and start to do some more optics tests, and obviously go over and do the under the horizon again. Oh, it's not eclipse. See how you look at that one. So there's a picture.
This is Blackpool Tower.
That's
Yes.
Blackpool Tower, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Those other
nice.
bits that we were looking at, see on the far left-hand side, where the well, just where it meets the water, where the Blackpool seafront changes. That's where we were there. That's those other shots. Now this one was, I think this was when we were going to go and find out exactly where the photographer was when the picture that Ranty got given. This was when we went there to go and see exactly where the guy was and what position he was at. This was obviously at the wrong position because there's too much haze in the middle. He needed to be higher than that particular picture. Yeah, that is actually, I've got a series of those pictures for us to work out where he was. So there's loads of little pictures, right, to see actually what you can see. See in that one? You see Blackpool Tower.
At what distance it was?
It's the same distance. Like, it's just because you're looking through a P1000 and you can zoom in.
Yes. Okay, so it is roughly 13 miles. Yes.
Yeah, around about that. Yeah, ish. Maybe a bit less because we're a bit further down the beach, but you can see that there's the short Southport pier. So yeah, about similar sort of position. And yeah, that's dropping apparently. Blue Marble says it drops 100 foot from here to there. FE Dogma says you don't even need an auto level to look at it. You just need the elevations of the three different things. So in the background there's some mountains. There's Blackpool Tower there, and there's obviously the position that you're at. Apparently you can do some sort of a thing to tell that Blackpool Tower drops 100 feet.
Yes, they definitely cannot recognize that image is shrinking to horizon, not to crosshairs. So that's, I would say, that's the point, the weak point of their argument. But maybe I would make some, let's say, kind of presentation because explaining that with words, it seems it doesn't work. So it is very hard to just say something. It is better to make some, let's say, pictures to explain what I think it is, because without that it is difficult. So I can recognize that what I am saying, I am not sure if it is clear. So it needs some picture support. I'm not talking about photo, but just optical drawings.
Yeah.
Some optical drawings.
Well, the best idea is for you to actually, we can go there and we can give you a panoramic view and, give you an idea of what the layout of the land is, right? Until you've actually done that, you don't really have an idea of what it is you're looking at, do you? You can just look at pictures.
Yes. So I cannot see everything. So
Yeah.
That's because I was not there. So, but roughly, it is for me. That's a good nearly perfect plane. This area. So it is going up to the horizon line without any big undulations, visible undulations. So it seems, I know that you don't like this word, but it looks really flat here.
It is literally the area that we live in is called a coastal plain. It was marshland, right? It's flat. You can't get away from it. Like, it's literally when you go to the canal, and the canal's obviously 27 miles long in between locks. It's that flat that you lose phone signal because you're down at the canal side, and it just stretches out for miles. The whole bit. There's hardly any elevation changes at all. It's all low lying, all of this. But I mean, this bit here that you're looking at in the thing, it's all water up until the mountains in the background. There's that little bit of Blackpool, but then there's water again behind Blackpool. That Blackpool Tower is literally on the front, on the other side. So water goes all the way around that. It's ideal for doing optics tests, seeing what you can see. But again, people aren't that bothered, whereas we are. My son's going to be doing a perspective test because he's a photographer, an artist. So this is an ideal place for you to get that idea of what perspective is and how it works. So we are going to be doing way more stuff. If anybody wants to come and see these sort of things, we will be letting people know, and we will be, you can come into the Discord and come and watch it as we go live when we're out there. Where we're going to be, who knows? But we will be doing more of this sort of stuff. And we have done this sort of stuff already. We've already been out there and took a load of these pictures of this sort of stuff. A lot of people want to talk about these pictures, or pictures that people have taken, not particularly my son, but other people have taken pictures of this with far better cameras, right? The thousands of pounds worth of cameras and lenses and stuff other people have used. They've got pictures in the gallery of them. They've tarted them up and they've touched them up and they've got them in a gallery. I'd even say that they cut and pasted little bits and added stuff onto it. But it proves globe to some people. These pictures are some people's avid proof of globe. I mean, how could it not be? I mean, just look at that. Look at it. 'Tis globe. It drops away out in the distance, apparently. 100 feet. Blue Marble says. And Wally says. And Stefan. And Darren.
From horizontal, yes. This is induced by Jesse Kozłowski, yes.
Yeah, there's another one. There's a nighttime one. You can see the mountains in the background. It gets lit up nice, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Look at that. Fantastic. 'Tis globe. drops 100 feet. Apparently, Blue Marble says you can. Fe Dogma says you don't even need auto level.
Do you know the elevation of this mountain, roughly?
The mountains in the background. That's the Lake
Yes.
District.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I think there's a famous picture, and loads of people have put all of the heights of all of the different mountains on it. I think there's like a mountain finder, a peak finder thing that you can sort of overlay on it. But yeah, Ranty went over it. It's proved the globe to Ranty, didn't it? That, like, there's hundreds and half a mile of the mountain missing. It's gone. It dropped. I mean, look at it. It's lower than Blackpool Tower.
According, of course, to the optics, it's natural. So it's merging with horizon. So it's going down. Further and further away, it will go down without shrinking at that distance.
Yeah, you can see the land. I say you can see the land anyway. You can, because you're looking, I don't know, say 10 miles over the water to Lytham St. Anne's seafront. So you can see all of them houses. You can see the seafront. It goes up, and then you can see the road with the cars going past it, and then the houses past that. You can see all of that on this seafront. And then when you go round to the corner, you can see the elevation of the walkway, and you can see the stones on the walkway. You just can't see Blackpool Tower because there's like 2 miles of Blackpool in between. So you can't get to see the bottom of Blackpool Tower. Tis globe. 100 foot lower though. Blue Marble thinks there's a drop of 100 feet. There's a few Blue Marble scientists that do that.
Perspective drop, nothing to do with dropping in feet. You can only measure pixels here. So that's all.
We are early tonight, aren't we? Nobody wants to see the Blackpool pictures. Nobody wants to see the Bedford level pictures. Putting people off. The Blue Marble. Has Blue Marble gone live? I hope so. It is early, isn't it? Should we finish early? Should we go into go and do a members bit afterwards? Sweet spot. 13 miles. I'll get a few more of these pictures while we're here. There you go, here's one. That's a good picture. Auto level, looking over the water. Nobody else does that, do they? Who give you pictures like that? Is there any Blue Marble scientists that'll look at this one? That's Blackpool Tower dropping in the distance, apparently.
Strange. For me, it is not dropping. Yeah.
Yeah, Blue Marble says it. Can you imagine drawing a line or halfway up it, and then could you imagine it dropping if you were to?
Yes. Yes,
There you go.
that's the point. I know the problem. Crosshairs of horizontal plane and it is too high. But they don't they cannot recognize that the image of object is shrinking, so it cannot be at the base, because otherwise shrinking of objects in perspective wouldn't work. You cannot have both. So I will maybe explain with some presentation, because for me this is obvious that it cannot be at the base according to perspective, but they say that it should be at the base.
Winston, new member. Has Winston come to join us? So here's one that I did ages ago. I said, thanks, Ranty and Cats. The mountains and valleys in that picture prove it's not flat. But you can see the mountains, definitely not flat. So that was that's what I think Ranty and all of them did. I think that's how they proved it's not flat, and that's what turned Ranty back to the globe. I mean, once you see those mountains and valleys, right, then it's definitely not flat. That's one thing you can definitely say. And if you can say it's not flat, you can say 'tis globe.
Yes, this is false dichotomy.
What's that? Radio tower 70 miles away. Sits on a 300-meter hill. Thank you very much, Winston. Yeah, we can see stuff in the distance. What have we got? Oh, isn't it? This is a nice one. That's
And
a nice
in that
picture.
picture, the tower is not above mountains. So in some pictures, Blackpool Tower is above.
Don't think you can see the mountains in the background of that one.
Oh, so this is just edge of some clouds, or
Yeah, I think so.
something.
Yeah, but you can see in that one. You can see the wheel on one of the piers. Which I think Ranty said it was in the water.
This
It's
is
obviously on the other side.
this is how changing of focal point changes position between objects which are closer and which are farther. So you can change position, let's say, of the background mountain in the picture, and on one picture with a different focal length, that Blackpool Tower would be above mountain, and on other picture with different focal length, it may be in different position. So why once would be lower and the second time would be higher? Just changing focal point. So it doesn't prove anything with the shape of the Earth.
Mm. Just looking at some footage. Yeah. Okay. I think should be enough for today. Really, I didn't. Sorry about today. It's Wednesday. I've been out. I haven't really had much chance to sort anything out. Live streaming. That's the way it goes. If anybody wants to come and talk about any of the contradictions that they hold, if anybody wants to come and check us for contradictions, I personally on my globe don't have contradictions, but I know some people that do like contradictions quite a lot. Some people that use the contradictions to prove their globe. That's fine. New form of logic. Betty's obviously been over there teaching.
But only your globe is very small, so these contradictions are very small and you cannot see them.
Yeah, I just don't. I try not to have contradictions, so my globe has no contradictions. It's maybe different than other people's globes. If you have a different globe, come in and have a conversation about it. The one thing that us non-contradiction globers have is that we have an ability to talk about our globe to each other. There are some fundamental globe believers that have a strict dogma to follow regarding that, and these particular people, they're on the attack. They're fundamentalists. Call them highly faithful fundamentalists, and mainly over there at the Blue Marble Science. I don't know, call it Blue Marble Science HQ, where Blue Marble Science, the head Blue Marble scientists, along with these dogma teachers, it's where they accept contradictions and paralogisms. They spread paralogisms to people, and we try and let people know it's okay to have these contradictions. There's no need to push your paralogisms on other people. Be at peace with your monad, whatever shape it may be. Thank you very much. I'll be back a little bit better tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be try something, sort something out. Remember, don't trust fake surveyors just because they're on the YouTube. They say that they're surveyors. Don't go getting pictures from the internet and interpreting them as though you can see a drop. It might not be good for your mental state to tell people that you can see the drop. Just accept it. Be at peace with your globe. And see you tomorrow. Let's give it a go.
give yourself to accepted information too. Well, you got it right. Everybody's got their own way to go. Fast to what you know. Don't let their opinions throw you off. You got to stay the course you're on. You got it right. Everybody's got their own way to go. Comes a time you have to choose. You can't hold two conflicting truths. Eliminate the wrong path to take. You'll find the answers that you need. Contemplate before you make a choice. You got to let your voice be heard. You'll never see this place again. You got it right. Everybody's got their own way to go. There comes a time you have to choose. You can't hold two conflicting truths. Eliminate the wrong path to take. You'll find the answers that you need. Try not to enable their thoughts. They got another problem with this bridge to cross. No matter what I say, they're doomed. You got it right. Everybody's got their own way to go. There comes a time you have to choose.